What's up, everybody? It's Ultimate G-Man here once again. I'm gonna do my review of Hunter x Hunter chapter 353. Instead of doing that, I'll just go through the chapter. I am like really tired right now. After a long day of schoolwork. After yesterday, I had finals, so that's why this video is a little late. What happened in this chapter? This overall was a really action-heavy chapter. It had the least amount of dialogue so far out of every other chapter. So in general, this chapter was good. We see Hisoka dealing with armies and of people, and Chrollo actually like created clones out of the entire audience using gallery fakes. So we see that here in the chapter, and we see Hisoka like deducting that like 30 puppets are coming after him, and like this chapter was mostly action oriented. I'm sorry if I sound very unmotivated, but when I first read this chapter, I was like, oh my god. Like every Hunter x Hunter chapter, like for the past like 3 weeks or so, since like Hunter x Hunter has been back, it has been consistently good. And bungee gum to jump up, and then you see the armies of people walking on top of each other like freaking ladders, and like it reminds me of like a zombie movie. Like the puppets are like zombies going after him. It's like 30 people going after him, and Hisoka's holding his own. And one thing I learned from this chapter that's different from like every other chapter, and like something. And now I completely get why everybody's on Hisoka's side now, because Hisoka in this fight, he's kind of the underdog. I mean, Chrollo has all of these techniques and everything, but Hisoka's only using bungee gum throughout this entire fight so far, and everything. And we don't see him use anything else, and he's just using his own wit and bungee gum to try to figure out this entire situation. And then when Chrollo shows up behind the clones, I don't think it's Chrollo who's doing that. I honestly think that it's either a clone, or it's he probably swapped his body with someone else, because that is a possibility. And I think that he used gallery fake to make a copy of his book and gave it to the clone, or gave it to the other person and used the Black Voice Shoutnark's ability to control the person. And that's what I think is going on right now. And I feel like he's like playing the game, and he's like, he switches the when he was punching after him, and like when he was about to punch him and he kicked him with his right leg, he kicked him seemingly in the back of the neck, and that was pretty interesting. And it was very honestly, this fight so far is like the highlight of the manga community right now, is this fight. And it's just, I understand. Well, and yeah, I think it's pretty interesting. The funniest part in this chapter was when Hisoka was twinking, like when gone. Like he was just flying, and his legs were like face towards like the side or whatever, and it was just so creepy. But he was just smiling, and you just see his muscular body just like, oh my god, it's so magnificent and all, and it's just so freaking hilarious. And then you see Hisoka fighting through the armies of people, and like and remember from last chapter that he has to remove their head in order for it to work. Otherwise, he can't beat a clone unless not a clone, one of the puppets, unless he takes their head off. And it just shows how devious Chrollo is, and that's why this chapter was entitled Devious. So like Hisoka's going through these armies of people. Chrollo hits him again, and Chrollo disappears into the army of people. Then he comes down, and Hisoka I think Hisoka sees through his plan, and something drastic is going to happen. Especially because he used the bungee gum to move the head, used the head as like a freaking, which is weird because he uses the severed head as like a pendulum or like some rubber band like weapon and he freaking shoots it at Chrollo after Chrollo freaking crushes his face into the ground. And then that was the end of the chapter. But I really think that Hisoka has this fight. He actually has a plan, and I feel like his plan is actually going to work out. And like, honestly, I think that either way, the story could still progress and would be very interesting either way, whether Hisoka or whether Chrollo won. Because if Chrollo lost, right, and this is all being broadcasted on TV, who's to say that Kurapika wasn't watching this or Gon wasn't watching this on TV, and something would happen that would either spike. If Hisoka loses, that would give Gon reason to come back into the story and try to fight Chrollo, and then Kurapika, no, and that kind of happened. But if either way, like, if Kurapika just proves that he wants to win, you know, he's not just gonna give up, and like, based off of that determination that Hisoka has, it really like starts to make you kind of admire him almost. But this is my thing about this fight. If we see a like flashback of Hisoka's past within the next couple chapters, or we get more exposition on Hisoka's character, it's gonna probably hint at either he's dying or he's gonna have more relevance in the arc. And I personally think that when it comes to Dark Continent, I feel like Chrollo would probably have more of a relevance in the Dark Continent, but I'm not sure. I'm not fully sure about who's gonna win, honestly. Well, leave your thoughts in the comments section below. What do you think about this fight so far? I'm just enjoying every single like moment of this fight because it's just freaking awesome. And I noticed that Togashi's art is actually pretty much improved in this chapter, and we really get to see the art being showcased. And a lot of people think that he has a assistant. If he does, that's great. And if he doesn't have an assistant, because like in his interview we saw, he did say that he's trying to crawl out of bed and everything to get help. So I'm not sure if he has an assistant. But anyway, that's kind of irrelevant. But yeah, this was a wonderful chapter once again. This chapter was a fairly simple compared to the last ones. And hasn't it been feeling like every single Hunter x Hunter chapter has just been pretty short as of late? Like, it feels like they're good, but they're just too short. And I just feel like I have to marathon them and read through a multiple ones of them. And I just wish we had more Hunter x Hunter. Anyway, I guess that's the end of the video. Thoughts in the comment section below, and peace out. Chrollo loses this fight, then we'll have a whole new dynamic going on, and then Kurapika will have to like freaking, he'll probably go revenge crazed after Hisoka and try to kill him. Either way, it's either that or the entire Phantom Troop are gonna go after Chrollo. The entire Phantom Troop is gonna go after Hisoka, and then we'll have a whole new situation or dynamic where Hisoka's running away from the troop, and that would be pretty interesting. But as far as I'm concerned, my vote on who's gonna win has really shifted because of this chapter, and I really don't think that Hisoka, I mean, honestly, based off of the amount of abilities that Chrollo has, it would be the logical idea to like root him winning, because throughout this entire fight so far he has the upper hand. But at the same time though, you could, if you factor in how devious Hisoka is and how like well versed he is at using his technique in a multitude of different ways, I really think that this fight could go either way. And while I'm rooting for Chrollo, I still have kind of my hopes on Hisoka, because honestly, I still like Hisoka's character, even though he has that mystery to him, and even though a lot of people like don't like how weird he is, but I still want Hisoka to win. Honestly, I want him to win. I'm betting Chrollo's gonna win, but I want Hisoka to win. And the amount of effort and work that Hisoka's putting into this fight